What's going on, you guys? Slim here with a new video today, and I'm here to bring you guys why Dragon Link won LCS number 5, which just took place this past weekend. If you guys are new here, consider subscribing, hit that notification bell. You guys will be notified whenever I upload. You guys will also be notified when I stream over on Twitch. Link is in the description. As always, if you think about building this deck in real life and need to purchase cards, consider using my TCG player, link in the description below. A portion of what you spend goes back to the channel. It helps me out, and I really do appreciate it. So LCS number 5 just took place. It was actually a pretty crazy event. The finals was this deck that you have in front of you, piloted by David Edwards. Shout out to you, bro. Congratulations on winning. I believe I heard he went undefeated, which is absolutely crazy. Really shows his caliber as a player as well as the strength of the deck. The finals, though, was not against what you would think. You would think the finals would be like Eldritch or Adamantipator or maybe a Dragon Link Mirror or maybe the new Dogmatica cards. It was none of that. It was actually against Megaliths. And shout out to, I think it was, I can't really pronounce the name, but the guy that piloted Megaliths. There's been a lot of interviews, a lot of profiles on multiple channels with him. You know, shout out to you, bro. You're amazing for running that deck. He brought it all the way to the finals. It was pretty crazy. I think that it was just a hell of a finals. You actually can watch the finals match as well, which is available online. You could just you can YouTube search it. You guys will find it. I watched it yesterday. It was awesome. But yeah, shout out to you guys for making it to the finals. Shout out to you guys for a great finals. It's pretty crazy. Like you guys already know, these luxury game tournaments are literally the equivalents of our YCSs since we're in quarantine. So it's awesome. But as always, we're going to go over the deck in detail as well as why I personally feel the deck did so well and why it ended up winning the event. Now, I'm going to have a disclaimer before we do this. So a lot of people are going to mention it in the comments, because I've already seen it in the comments of other videos, that the reason why Megaliths ended up losing was that the guy piloting Megaliths preemptively scooped in game 3. Now, that's neither here nor there. If you watch the match, you guys can be the judge of that. I personally don't know anything about Megaliths. I think a lot of players are actually in the dark about the deck, so you can learn a lot by watching those profiles. But one thing I will say is that game 1, Megaliths dominated. Game 2, this Dragon Link deck dominated. And then in game 3, the Megalith player did get Dark Ruler no more. The board was going to be broken. However, no damage could have been dealt, so it's really hard to say. I believe he had 3 cards in hand. It's hard to say, like, when he drew for turn to 4 cards, like what he would have been able to do with his resources at hand. So that's neither here nor there. But what we can say is that Megaliths made it all the way to the finals, almost ended up winning, and that by itself is just an amazing feat. And again, you know, shout out to David Edwards for piloting this Dragon Link deck, you know, all the way to the finals and to winning. But we will get into it. So, of course, we have Driver, of course, because he is playing the best hand trap currently in the game, which is Gamma. Next to Impermanence, this is easily the best hand trap. It's the most impactful. It can't be called by the grave, and it's one of those cards that just really impacts the format. Very good against combo decks, pretty much good against every deck. If you think about every deck, at some point, if you were to Gamma them, you can actually mess up their entire play. Even the trap decks, like if you were to Gamma, say, a Molaseek or any kind of Altergeist monster, or who knows, even against Guru or something, like even against the weirdest matchups, you could find something to Gamma, and that's absolutely crazy. Especially going first or going second. Going second, this actually can be Link fodder, which is nuts. Or if your deck was playing Omega, you can make Omega as well. I think this card is extremely strong. It pops in and out of every format, and I think this format is very strong. It's an out to Zexal, which is very important. Even though Numeron is very, very, very underrepresented, none of them topped. I don't even know how many players entered that even played Numerons, and we'll talk about that. As you can see, some of his main deck choices were geared towards that. But yeah, the Gamma Driver package, easily like the best hand trap. Of course, we got the Red Eyes Darkness Metal. The coolest thing is, even with Errata, the deck's still able to use it and use it to its full capacity, so that's awesome. Its new art looks awesome as well. 1 copy of Levianeer. Obviously, you search it off Brotar. You can also search it off Chaos Space. You have, for your rocket monsters, you have your Absolute Router Dragon. You have triple copies of Noctivision, which to me, I still can't believe is a common, but that's, again, neither here nor there. This card's insane. Great extender. Of course, you got the Collapse Serpent, which goes with the Wyva Buster. Another rocket monster that not a lot of players run is actually the Magna Rocket Dragon. In his interview with Bortle on Bortle's channel, shout out to Bortle, he talked about why he played this card. It's actually intricate to a certain OTK the deck can do, as it does clear another monster to clear the way for an OTK, so that's very cool. In case you guys are wondering why he's running this rocket monster, whereas a lot of the rocket decks do not run it. Of course, Triple Star Lead, just one of the best one-card combos of the deck. The already aforementioned Wyva Buster that goes with the Collapse Serpent. 3 of the best Rocket Tracer. It's just the best one in the deck. Don't need to explain that. And 1 copy of Rocket Recharger. So those are his main rocket monsters. Hand traps, we got 2 copies of Ash Blossom. He only played 2 because Ash is a hard once per turn. Whereas you want a hand traps that can be impactful. Sometimes it's better to have ones that you can use multiple of in a turn. Ash is good, but it's not that good against Numeron. But again, Numeron was very underrepresented. As you can see, he was prepared, as his next next hand trap is triple copies of Ghost Ogre. He really thought more people were going to play Numeron, and I'll be honest, I completely agree. I thought more people would be trying to play Numeron, whether it's Numeron Guru, Numeron Invoked, Numeron Eldritch. I really thought people were going to try to take advantage and play Zexal, and we already know Ash does nothing to the deck, whereas Ogre does stop the network, which is huge. Very surprising that the decks didn't do well. Most people will call it a flop. I wouldn't call it a flop so much. I just don't think people had enough confidence in the deck itself and maybe the engine itself, but the triple copies of Ogre were there to cover that matchup, so I think it was important that he was prepared, and it is better to be prepared than not prepared. I think it's also important to note that Ogre, while it may not be one of the best hand traps, it can come up in interesting situations. It can clear a Needle Fiber out of the way, it can clear Link monsters out of the way and stuff like that, which can mess up the opponent's combo. So it's not a wonderful card, but it is a card that at least would have maybe some utility in other matchups in certain situations. Already mentioned Gamma, and then of course we've got the Phalanx. That of course goes with the Divine Lance just to help you do your combos, you already know. Another one card starter, the Black Metal Dragon card's great, also a 1-for-1 target. Then of course you got your Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. This card is nuts. Literally you just get it off Union Carrier and you lock your opponent out of the extra deck. That's just absolutely busted. The one Brotar, easily one of the best cards in the deck, just helps you get to your Levianeer to continue doing your combos. And then the last monster is the Rocket Synchron, just another tuner, gives you your Needle Fiber plays and stuff like that. Just helps you, Link climb as well as do other plays. And it could even be a 1-for-1 target. I mean, you might as well throw that in there. It is a level 1, so that does come up. That's it for the monsters. For the spells, he's got the 1-1-for-1. He's got multiple targets to come out. The one Foolish Burial obviously sets up your graveyard. The one Monster Reborn. Triple copies of Chaos Space. You guys already know how broken this card is. This card is amazing in Dragon Link. Triple copies of the already broken Quick Launch. We already know this is the reason why Rockets are so insane as an engine. This isn't once per turn. It's just insane what this card does for the deck. Triple copies of World Legacy Guard Dragon. This card is also helmed as one of the best cards in the deck. Helps you if you get Nibiru'd. You literally can just activate this and keep playing. It does a lot for you. Being able to move the monster for the Link Arrows is important to do with Guard Dragon combos. I think this card is great, and I've noticed, as many people have noticed, the decks start to play more than one and definitely have gone up to 3 as pretty much a staple in the deck. Divine Lance is already part of the combo with Phalanx. The Boot Sector launch that you will search off your Striker Dragon. The Ravine that you will search off Romulus, and triple copies of Impermanence, because next to Gamma, it is the best hand trap in the format. He made a 50-card main deck, decided to go with more than 40 because if you notice, he is playing several one-ofs that you really don't want to draw. There are cards you'd rather search in your combo, so by upping the deck count, you decrease your odds of drawing those one-ofs, so it helps your deck be more consistent. So I really like that. Most people would have played 60, but I like that he played 50. He even said I couldn't think of 10 more cards that would make this list any better, so very nice. And one last thing I'll add, if you notice, he's not playing the FTK version, so we've gone from the FTK back to what Dragon Link was before the FTK was discovered with Earthbound Immortal, so that's awesome. So shout out to him again for that, for not playing the FTK, so that's awesome. On to the extra deck, we've got, of course, the Borreload Savage and the Herald for your negates. We've got the Metal Marcher. We've got the Boral Sword Dragon for OTKs. We've got the Appaloosa, self-explanatory. Fiber and Link Ross, you already know in any combo deck. Romulus, part of your combo, get Ravine. Union Carrier combo, get your extra deck guy that just says you can't access your extra deck. You got the one copy of Whelp. This card's great. It was the replacement for Beat Cop. Multiple reasons. It is a generic level 2 that is very important. Not only that, you are able to use this when under the Guard Dragon lock, as it is a dragon itself, and it's also a light for your Chaos play, so this card is great. Definitely a good replacement for Beat Cop. You got the Hieratic Seal, just an interruption. Card's great. Pisty, one of the Guard Dragons. 2 copies of Striker Dragon, just get all your plays going. The one LP, people think this will get banned. We'll see what happens, but this card is still insane. And then the one Link Ross, which everyone thinks will get banned for sure, because this and Needle Fiber just make for crazy combos in pretty much every deck that plays them. Side deck real quick, we got the one Prankatops and the triple copies of Lightning Storm. Easily for back row decks. Just Prankatops, even at 1, is one of the best side deck cards you can play this format. Triple copies of Dark Ruler, really good. Against combo decks, just break the rock deck, break whatever deck, and just go off. Along with that, got 2 copies of Forbidden Droplet. We know this card just came out. Card's really strong, being able to use it to turn off cards. If you watch the finals match, again, he actually did use this, so this card did put in some work. This card is really, really good, and I think a lot of players are going to pick up on its effectiveness in the format. 2 copies of Twin, that just goes with more of the back row removal. Triple copies of Pointer of the Red Lotus, one of the best cards going first. You get hand knowledge, you get rid of a problem. This card is just insane. It's like the new Trap Dust Shoot for 2020. And the one Red Reboot, because it is the best way to answer trap decks. So that is for the main deck, the side deck, and the extra deck. I think they're all built very, very well. I will say the reason why this deck won is I think a lot of people were not doubting Dragon Link. I think they weren't expecting Dragon Link to go so far, so they weren't as prepared for the deck as they should have been. I think more focus was on Eldritch. I think more focus was on the Rock deck. More focus was on the Dogmatica cards that just came out. Even on the Numeron
cards. I think more and more players thought that, you know, these are the decks people are going to play, and then they just didn't show up or they didn't make the top cut. The Infernoble Knights was also a really good deck that people were piloting, and it did show up in the top 8, I believe. Kamal got top 8 with it, so the deck is also very strong. It's also a hand rip deck, so that deck is also insane by itself. I think that was one of the main reasons. I think another reason is that people need to realize Dragon Link is one of the few decks in the game that's very good at going first and very good at going second. Going first, it can build a very strong board. Going second, it can break a board quite easily. Another reason I feel the deck won, it is another deck that can play through hand traps quite effectively. Not many decks in the format can play through multiple hand traps, multiple negates, and still end on a board, still get somewhere. And that's what Dragon Link can do. And it's because it can do things like that that I think it's highly effective. And like I said, since everyone's focus was mostly on the newer cards, especially Dogmatica and the Eldritch Dogmatica, Invoke Dogmatica, I think more and more players were dedicating side deck and main deck spots to out those decks versus a deck like this. And not only that, this deck was well equipped with plenty of counters as well. When you're playing a 50 card deck, you can play more hand traps than usual, and not only are you able to answer your opponent's cards, but then you can break their board or build your own board that can't be broken. I think there's multiple reasons why this deck won. I think it's easily one of the best decks in the format, and I like that we're seeing a pretty standard list. We're not seeing anything too flashy, no FTK, no alter win condition, just what Dragon Link is meant to do. And I think we definitely should continue to pay attention more and more to this deck, this format, because clearly it's proven itself in already the new format. We'll see how Dogmatica continues to do. We'll see if Numeron makes a comeback at all. Right now, Numeron isn't really even sitting at the dinner table. It's basically just Dogmatica, Eldritch, Rock, Infernoble Knights, and Dragon Link's multiple versions. But I think it's awesome to see Dragon Link do well. But again, shout out to David for winning. I hope that you guys did enjoy this. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below as to why you feel Dragon Link won LCS 5, and don't say it's because the Megalith player misplayed or scooped too early. That's not a real reason. Do you think the deck was effective? I do, and I think that we'll definitely see more of this deck in the future. But that's all I got to say. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.